Hey guys, welcome back. A few weeks ago we talked about this part. We're going to look at it a little bit deeper. This deep. So, after we made the short video about this piece, a couple of people got in touch and they started to explain to me about what this found part was. It's not a kit part, it is something completely different. So, then I started hunting it down on the internet, seeing what I could find, and that led me down this rabbit hole. Now, we had some success, but we didn't have complete success. And while I was in the rabbit hole, I saw something else that I think you'll find interesting. So, without further ado, let's see what this pile of shit is. So as you know, in the last video, we bought production-made greebly of the part that we're interested in. We modelled the part that we're interested in. And I've got to say, now we've almost got there, we did a very good job with this. And the little amendments that we were going to make would have made it pretty spot on. So, I'm very pleased with that. But it came to light that this was made by a company called Cherry, and I think that's all we had. Here's a photo of the piece sewn to the Y-Wing costume. And as you can see, we've got a brand name on there. And that brand name is, as I've already said, Cherry. So we started having a little look, started Google searching, seeing what we could find for Cherry. And it led us to these little switches that I like to call, because that's what they're called, thumb wheels. So I got all over excited, and I don't know why, don't ask me, but the first purchase I bought was these. Got all giddy, and they're nothing to do with it, okay, so forget them. So then I was searching through, and there was an awful lot of these things like this, which were completely wrong. Okay. So the bit we're looking for is, let me break this down. This one's a good example because it's huge, but it gives you an idea. So this is the thumb wheel, and you can have a bank of these. You could do 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, however many you want for whatever application you're using them for. And these are then used to, I can't get it on, let me look at it properly. So these are then used to do two things. To finish it off, as you can see, that design, and these are the holes to mount it into some sort of panel. Okay, but as I said, you may have multiple of these switches. That's why these components pop off, and you would make a huge stack of them. Okay, so thumb wheels. So that's what we're looking for, a Cherry thumb wheel. Okay, this isn't it, because clearly this is way bigger than this. So we're looking for a sub-miniature thumb wheel. Okay, so we know where we're at. We need a tiny one of these, but that's what it is. So again, this is no good. And all of these, they're no good either. And then, when I found this, it was like, you know, that moment in the movies. Hallelujah. Cut that bit out, we're not using that. But I found this, and I was like, oh my god, that's it. Look at it. That is it. Can you see that? Have you got it on a close-up? Cherry. The manufacturer's correct, and I was looking at it, and the slots here look pretty good, and the shape of it, everything looks good in the photo. So I went ahead and I ordered not one but two of these. Okay. And they weren't cheap. And this is what we're looking for. You ready? You can see how it finishes off this thing. Makes the end pretty, and we've got the mounting points. So same deal. Same exact deal. Now this, I'm sure you will agree, is starting to look a little bit more like it. So if we put the two together, we can see where the problems begin. They don't fit together exactly right because one of them's got a little peg on it, and I've drilled a hole, but it's not in the exact right position. But I don't really want to snap it off because I'm probably going to list this on eBay. So there you go. As you can see, the found part that we found is slightly taller, and the angle of those little upstands is also slightly different. So I've been looking for a few weeks. They do make this part, obviously. I know the part number now, and basically just the top of this is as we see here. It's not sanded off. It's closer to it. It is a slightly different part. There are some tiny differences. But there you go. That would be the part. This is what we are hunting for. I don't hold out much hope of finding one. I've made some inquiries. Some people are coming back to me. It may or may not happen. I don't think I'm going to just find one on eBay. If I am, it ain't going to be anytime soon because I've been looking and looking and looking. And people seem to be selling the switches without a problem. But the actual bezel to go on the end of them, that is a problem. From our point of view on the project, we have got enough data to be able to model and create the replica that is near perfect. So as far as the projects go, the found part I think is less important. Sure, it would be nice to find one. Will it happen? Possibly. Who knows? But who knows isn't going to get the project done. So we're going to push ahead, and if one does ever turn up, then obviously I will jump on it. If anyone's watching this has got one of these, by the way, please do hit me up because I'd be interested to talk to you. But there you go. The Cherry thumb wheel panel mount bezel. Just for shits and giggles, so I just hold it up to this as well. You have a look. I need to push them in. I think I just snapped something. There you go. So that actually shows you the different... If this was being mounted in a panel, you can see it would just be a slightly different mount. And to be fair, it doesn't look to be as substantial as this mount, which is probably why they weren't used very often. So, who knows? Back in the early 80s, maybe these were on a discount price because people weren't using them. Would explain a lot. There you go. The Cherry thumb wheel with the almost correct bezel. But we're not finished just yet, because as I mentioned, while I was in the thumb wheel rabbit hole, I found something else. And the moment I saw it, I was like, oh shit, I know what that is. Now, it's a little bit more obscure because it came up in a search for something else and I don't even know what it is. I couldn't even replicate the search. I've got the part here and there's nothing on it apart from some weird numbers, but there's no branding, there's nothing. But it's a thumb wheel and it's a much bigger one, like the previous one, the black one, for size comparison. So it's a lot bigger. Okay, and this one's a slightly different configuration. It has this plate that sits on the front of it. Let me just show you the operation. So this is how it would work. You just, yeah. So this one has a plate that sits on the front. But we're not interested in all of that. What we're interested in is the actual plate. And I would just invite you to feast your eyes on this and ask you, does it look familiar at all? Just let it sink in a second. Okay, if you're all screaming at the TV now or your phone, maybe you're travelling home on the bus and you're screaming at your phone, which is interesting. This is, of course, the key slot for the Boba Fett helmet. Now, these things, just before you say, but there's only two. These things, I've got more of them here. Okay, these things, there's one. Now there are two different sizes. This one is actually a different size. If you look closely, it's a lot. The actual cutout is a different size on this one. It's a lot tighter. If I put the thumb wheel in behind it, this one's not screwed together, so I'm going to try and hold it together. But you can see more of the number on this one. Okay, so this is the one that they used for the helmet. And these thumb wheels, these plates, these covers, I've got one here, wrong size, but that's got 3 slots in it. And then I've got another one somewhere. Yeah, another one with 3 slots in it. Then this one obviously has got 2 slots in it. And this one's got 2 slots in it. Now I'm assuming, it's not a stretch to assume that a 6-slot variation of this was in existence so that you could have 6 of these in a line for something. And I'm assuming that that is what we see here. 6-slot variant. But I saw it, and it's weird, especially with Boba Fett for me, because I'll look at things and I'll see a grate on something and think it looks like the exhaust port on the jetpack. I'm always seeing Boba Fett shapes everywhere I look. Not everywhere, because that'd be weird, but you know, they just pop out at me, and this one certainly did. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've heard that about 20 years ago there may have been a theory that this is what was used, because when they were doing the sculpt, as we know with the TK, they put physical parts on there on the back plate, and in ESB, when Roy was sculpting the medical droid, they were putting the microphone into the sculpt, so it makes perfect sense that this would happen. But that's what it is. This is what the part is. Unfortunately, I can't really tell you much more about it other than it's the plate off one of these thumb wheel things. I've got no manufacturer on it. There are a load of part numbers, but they just seem to be a load of gibberish, to be quite honest with you. But there you go. And some of the part numbers on the inside are the same on the black one, but the fascias are different, because this takes this front and this doesn't. It's got it built in. So anyway, it's a weird thumb wheel. That's what we use for the Boba Fett piece. I thought that was pretty cool. Potentially some new information for the Boba Fett fans out there. I think it was theorised that this was a thumb wheel plate years ago. Don't know if anyone ever actually found one or if it just went away. I mean, what can you do with it? Absolutely nothing. So as found parts go, not actually that useful, but pretty cool. It's been found, and that's what I like to do on the weekends. So thanks for watching. Thanks for looking at my parts. That one's interesting. This one's pushed the Boushh project on just that little bit further to completing the part. And that's all I've got for this time. So until next time, I'll see you later.